Hello everyone, and welcome to the Tarot with Titania reading of the week for April 12th to the 19th, 2024. We've survived the eclipse. All seems to be well. Let's get into the reading this week. I invite you to close your eyes and take 3 nice deep breaths with me. Just imagine that tree root coming down out of the base of your spine, going down deep into Mother Earth, and grounding you here and now in this present moment. Knowing that this tree root is not only providing you with a wonderful anchor, allowing you to be fully present here and now, but it is also providing you with a conduit through which anything that no longer serves can easily pass down into Mother Earth and become compost for your new good growth. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I and all of your children are here once again to do this reading of the week for April 12th to the 19th, 2024. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information we most need to receive right now, and to provide this in a manner that we will easily and effortlessly hear, understand, and integrate for our personal and our collective highest and greatest good. I call upon my higher self and the higher selves of all those listening, as well as an overlighting angel of communication, to be present and facilitate this exchange, ensuring that it happens in the highest and best way possible, and that we cover all that is in our personal and collective heart and mind at this time, to our satisfaction in this window that we have together here today. I'd also like to invite the 4 archangels to come and hold the 4 directions around us across time and space, creating a circle of light, of love, of healing, of transformation, of peace, of clarity and wisdom. I invite Raphael to hold the east, Michael to hold the south, Gabriel to hold the west, and Uriel to hold the north. Thank you for coming. Anything that doesn't match these frequencies and intentions is welcome to go now. And so we go. Okay, my friends. Like I said, we survived the eclipse, and onward and upward we go. It has been intense. I know for so many, for all of us, in its own way. And I hope you were able to take good care of yourself and continue to do so, because it's important. We can't have our cups fill up and run over into that of those around us if it's empty. So it's important to come back to that realization and take good care. So, Creator, what is it that we most need to know this week for our personal and collective highest and greatest good, as we move forward into this week and the weeks to come, that we may bring our best and strive to become our best for ourselves, for those we love, for our communities, and for the love that we have for this beautiful planet. What would be most helpful for us to know this week, please? April 12th to the 19th, 2024. We're starting with the Joy card. As you know, if you've been here for a while, the past card is the one that we start with. It sits in this position here, and it usually represents energy and information that are applicable now in our present and going into the future. And so we're being called to anchor into joy, to remember joy, to remember the fun, the simplicity, the ease of simply feeling good, of being with others and feeling good together. We have this beautiful card of 3 children, and they're out having fun on a beautiful day. And they're carrying the little one between them, but they're having a nice time. They're enjoying themselves. It's not complicated. It's not hard. They're just doing it. And that is really helpful for us as we go forward this week, to just stay in simplicity, to stay in ease, to stay in flow, to stay in that space of well-being to the best of our ability, and even seeking to cultivate that as much as possible. So doing things that bring us more joy, getting out into nature, being with others who inspire us and whose company we enjoy, but doing it from that clean and clear space of, it's just such a pleasure to be there. And isn't it fun to do this together? So this energy is important, as I said, coming into our present and into our future. We need to remember this lovely energy of simplicity and joy. The present card is a card of abundance, another lovely, lovely card in terms of energy. We have this individual standing under the tree of life that's full of star-shaped fruit. We have the rose that she's standing on, which represents that purified desire of love, the high frequency that is the source of all life. And she's just full. She's enjoying her life. She's happy. She's fulfilled. She's satisfied. It's the quality of energy in our present environment, this coming back to well-being. So how do you cultivate well-being? How do you get back to that good space inside of you? We've talked before about yoga and qigong and tai chi and how these ancient practices are designed to move our bodies so that we release whatever blockages are there, pull our minds back into our bodies, and allow us to reconnect with the universal life force energy that we are part of. So these traditions are very powerful, and they're structured deliberately to allow us to reconnect with source energy, which is the source of well-being and happiness and comfort and all those good things that we long and strive for, and joy. So it may be worth considering cultivating this quality of energy in one space in very deliberate ways and finding what works for you. Being out in nature is another one when we're surrounded by those negative ions. Grounding, taking our shoes off, getting our feet onto the ground or into the waters that surround us, connecting with our environments and allowing ourselves to be, to get out of the mind, to bring the mind home to the body, but to be here now in this present moment and enjoy the beauty and the simplicity and the well-being that is here when we get out of the story that we all run as human beings, especially in our Western cultures. So this energy and this quality of abundance is in our present. Cultivating that well-being, cultivating that good feeling. Meditate on the concept of abundance. What does that mean for you? Because it's different for all of us. And it may not be a full bank account, but it might be. Abundance takes so many forms beyond simply the material. So this is in our present environment, cultivating that feeling of well-being and abundance and comfort and goodness, and allowing joy in there as well, because they're all very high frequency energies. The near future, the nightmare. So this doesn't mean we're moving into a nightmare, but what it does mean is we need to stay diligent and intentional about keeping ourselves awake, not falling for whatever stories or whatever is going on. I've been thinking a lot about this whole idea of our mind and the things that we run, the stories that we run, the stories we tell ourselves, and how we can choose to tell a different story. And that's a resourceful place to be, a masterful place to be, where we can recognize that we're running a story that doesn't serve us in the first place. Take that deep breath, come back to the self and say, okay, what now? What would I prefer to be telling myself? What would I prefer to be orienting myself to? Because we can't worry enough to change anything. We can't be upset enough to change anything. It's natural to have human emotion. It's okay. And now what? Now, what do we prefer? The contrast always helps us to determine what we want. And our work into our mastery is to pivot and go in that direction. So this card of moving into this near future quality of energy, there is a lot going on out there on the world stage, and there's some pretty threatening stuff going on. More stuff to kind of make us contract and get small and become like little dense balls of tension and fear and uncertainty and doubt. And when we find ourselves in those places, we need to remember to breathe and to bring air and space to that contraction. Because then we're resourceful, then we're resilient, then the inspiration can get into us. There are cracks. There's more space for that divine inspiration, the higher, broader, wiser part of us, to drop insights into our space. So that's very, very important when we start to get dense. So when we have a nightmare, we think it's real until we wake up. Our hearts race, we sweat, we shout out, We jerk around and flail in our sleep until we wake up. And then we realize it was just a dream. And there's this possibility space from our consciousness to rise above whatever it is that's causing the stress and the upset, the nightmare in our experience, to create space with it, to get objective, to rise above it where it's no longer a problem. And that's our challenge of these times. And we do this by tapping into well-being. When we have a grounded practice that takes us into that deep well-being, our cells know it, our bodies know it, our minds know it, our field knows it, and we can call on it whenever we need it so that we can better navigate the stressful times that we may experience. Because we will have them. We are human. It's what it means to be here on the planet at this time. How we navigate them, though, is up to us. And we can do that through the breath. Coming back to ourselves and asking for help if we need it. We have those on the other side who love us, the grandmothers, the grandfathers, those who came before us, those who have a vested interest in their line of family, their line of continuity. And that can be direct family, and that can be the collective of humanity. That can be if you're part of a field of study or interest, if you're somebody, for instance, who is practicing yoga and teaching yoga, and you are somebody who holds that lineage and is continuing that lineage, well, imagine the forebears that you have who are sending goodwill to you. And that's the same for any discipline or any field of study. There are those who came before who energetically send good wishes and goodwill your way because of your connection through whatever medium that might be or field of study, etc. So just realize that we are held in this magnificent, beautiful way, not only by the universe at large or the field of consciousness that we call God consciousness, but we're held in magnificent ways by those who came before us and who wish us well. And that field of energy is all around us, and we can tap into it whenever we remember to. That is the challenge. The foundation card, why we're having the reading this week, the Prince of Wands. And this is, princes are knights in other decks, and that's energy that changes very quickly. And so the wands is about creativity, inspiration, and passion. So this is changes on the level of that generative fire potential that we all have inside of us. And so, yes, we are living through these intense times with tremendous contrast. And our opportunity is to harness the contrast and say, okay, what would I prefer? I would prefer a world of peace. I would prefer a world of kindness. I would prefer a world of beauty. I would prefer a world where we care for this planet deeply and protect her waters and her air and her soils and heal them to the best of our ability, learning from her and co-creating with her. Those are some of the things that I would like. And so this shift on the generative level, it's reminding us that we are part of the story of humanity. We are part of the story of the earth, and we have a role to play in that. And what is it going to be? And giving our attention to what we want to create rather than what we don't want. The don't want is the contrast. The don't want helps us to distinguish what we do want. But we need to go in that direction rather than falling in the hole and wallowing in the don't want. So this week, we're looking at that generative energy, that potential, kindling our own flames and saying, okay, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to give my energy to this because this is life-giving to me. This helps me to stay in a positive, forward-moving space. I'm going to cultivate this and move my life forward. It's a little bit like what we were talking about here when we have supportive practices that help us to stay in the state of well-being. That makes us stronger, more resilient, more adaptable. We're nimbler, leaner. We turn in the direction of what is wanted. And we go that way rather than being bogged down and heavy and dense and anchored by that heaviness and density. Because whatever is coming our way is for us. That's always what's true for us on this planet at this time. And it might be really, really intense, and you are never alone. Remember that. And our work is, what next? What do I know now that I didn't know before? And which direction do I want to walk in? And keep going in that direction. Okay, so I think that's pretty clear. Stay anchored, find the joy, find the beauty, find the bliss, find the well-being, that energy of abundance. Get into the vicinity of that as much as possible, cultivating it, as I said, through our practices, being in nature, being with people who inspire us, who bring us to higher levels, reading uplifting content, connecting with uplifters who help us to bring our spirit up. All that is really valuable at this time because it helps us navigate this and wake ourselves up and say, yeah, that's not the future I see for myself or for humanity. And I'm going to give my energy to creating that beautiful new future by moving powerfully forward into my own generative creative process, whatever that might be. Let's see what our card to grow on is. Thank you, cards. So what is it that we need to know this week, Creator? What can we hold in our hearts and minds, distill down from this reading so that we stay on target, so we stay aligned with the good within us, for our good and the good of everyone whose life we touch, that we may rise and shine and thrive and take life with us, taking it in new directions, new, beautiful, expanded, life-generating directions for ourselves and everyone. This beautiful planet we call home. And there we have her again, the Prince of Wands. So this energy of generative potential and of movement on that level is important, of change on that level, of things accelerating, of there being transformation and change. So to my mind, if I'm feeling into the energy of this, it's like that incredible potential that we are in the midst of. The contrast that we've been living more intently, perhaps these past few years, has really got the collective field wanting new things. We have a whole lot of powerful momentum built up in our human family, in our human possibility space. We are fueling this fast forward momentum, this radical change in a short period of time from a generative creative space. So my thoughts around that, or my offering around that, is don't become discouraged. Understand that everything that we are living through is for us. And what is it clarifying? What do we know now? And once again, our work is not to wallow or be in the pit of despair. And we will go there because we are human. And the more tools we have and resources we have, and the more we cultivate well-being, the less likely we're going to fall in that hole, which is why those practices are so valuable. And we need to keep moving forward. We need to keep generating our good in our own lives. Whatever that might be for you, whatever that is for me, there are those things that bring us to more life. There are those things that bring us to more joy, more satisfaction, more pleasure. That's the yes that we've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks. So that energy of yes, what is it in our hearts that we are called to? What are we attracted to? What is shiny for us? That's where we need to be spending our energy. So this card of the Prince of Wands, it's important because it was not only our foundation card, but our card to grow on this week. That's where energy and attention needs to go. What are we generating? What are we putting our energy behind? What are we putting our focus on? And understanding that as we put our focus on creating what we want in our own experience, we're helping to accelerate that creative potential on all fronts for humanity and this planet, because we are interrelated. We're not separate from this planet. And it's important to stay mindful of that. So our good is the good of our fellow human beings. Our good is the good of the planet. Always from that place of self-care and love for ourselves and for others. So yes, this week, get into something creative and generative and fun. Maybe it's music. Maybe it's planting a garden. Maybe it's starting a project. I don't know what it is for you, but give yourself permission to spend time there with your hands in the soil, so to speak. It's very, very important that we take time away from our screens and be in the real world. That's another thing that I think we need to keep remembering at this time, to stay grounded in the real world and present, because we get pulled into the mind and we forget about the body and we forget about our well-being when we spend too much time on screens. So if you do have to spend time on screens, and we all seem to do that these days, please get outside, go hug a tree, take your shoes and socks off, touch the ground, breathe some fresh air, that kind of thing. Take care of yourself, because we need all hands on deck generating this beautiful new future that will come from each of us living into a more beautiful life generated by us with others for the collective good. And with that, my dears, we have this week's reading. Thank you for being here. I invite you to take a nice deep breath. It's good to come home to ourselves, good to come home in every moment, knowing that that breath is there as a tool whenever we get stuck, whenever we get dense. We do it automatically, but we can cultivate it mindfully. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I'm here with all of your children, and we've just finished this week's reading of the week. I'm grateful for all those who are bravely crafting new life on this planet at this time, all those who are boldly going forward, generating wonderful change and transformation in their own field and thus in the collective field. I'm grateful for this amazing momentum that we have rising on the planet at this time, for all the good that is happening, for all those who are rising into their mastery and into their mindfulness and into their consciousness and choosing to be deliberate, choosing to take that deep breath and interrupt the pattern of old despair and falling in the hole. I ask that you be with us, that you continue to guide us and provide us with the inspiration and the insights and the joy and the abundance that will lead us onward collectively into this magnificent future that we know is possible in our hearts. I want to thank all those who continue to hold space for us on the other side, all those masters, all those grandmothers and grandfathers, all those who have loved passionately and generated creatively and loved this life and who hold us in a good way on the other side. Thank you for being there and supporting us. And I'm so grateful to the 4 archangels and of course to you, because these readings are not possible without your energetic participation. So thank you for being here. It's all for us. We've got this. Much love and light. And I will see you next Friday. Bye for now.